welcome back to our Origins Summer Preview 2015. I'm Eric Summerer. This is Jim Dietz from Jolly Roger Games, and we're looking at one of your upcoming titles about the Cuban Missile Crisis, 13 Days.
This just went on Kickstarter a couple days ago, and it's obviously 13 days. It was designed by a couple of pretty cool European guys who like American history and political history, and their favorite game is Twilight Struggle, which is a highly acclaimed game by Jason Matthews and Mr. Gupta. I forgot his first name. Ananda, thank you. And so, but their problem was finding people that were able to sit down for a full length of game where they were. So what they decided to do is create a game that would scratch the Twilight Struggle itch in 45 minutes or less.
That's a tall order.
And so that's what they did. So they sent it to me. And I was like, well, that's okay. I think that's pretty, okay is a good word for me, by the way. And I talked to Jason about it, and he's like, I think this is pretty good. And so I'm like, okay, the fact that Jason loves this is a big deal. And so went ahead with it. The object of the game is to be ahead on the prestige track at the end of the game. The catch is you can never be more than 5 points ahead. There's no automatic victory when you do this. Turn is pretty simple. You increase the def contracts. We've got 3 of them here. You've got your media, the political, and the military. So every turn, no matter what, these markers are moving up. That's important. At the end of your turn, if all 3 are in DEFCON 2, you started World War III, game's over.
Doesn't sound like a good thing to do.
No. Or if one of them is in DEFCON 1. So, and most of the actions affect the DEFCON track. So we've done that. We would now draw scoring cards. Each of us draws 3 cards. And they can be specific regions, like the Atlantic here, and we kind of mark that with a marker. Or the tracks, political and media. So we mark it over here. I know the 3 areas you can choose from, you know the 3 I can choose from. We then select one. So that we'll know there are 6 areas we're competing over, potentially. All right, at that point, we wind up, we draw cards in our hand. Each player gets 5 cards. You have American cards, Soviet cards, and United Nations cards, neutral cards. UN cards can be used freely by anybody. If the American player has a Russian card, he has to play it, but he has to allow the Russian to run the event first on the card and then use the card. If it's his own card, he can choose to use the event or use the card for its normal points. So part of the game is managing the problems of having the other guy's cards in your hand. When do I trigger those when it's least advantageous to
Exactly.
And that's some of the cards, like place free markers on the board. Each player only gets 17 markers to start with, so there's a limited supply. So if I have all my pieces out here, that's the point to hit.
It's not going to change.
It will have no effect.
But you must, if you have all 17 of your markers on the board, I have other things to worry about.
And with the cards, the events will allow you to place markers in multiple places at once. The cards themselves only let you do it in one area for the number of points. So we also have a couple other important symbols. This UN card has 1 piece and the nuclear symbol with a cross through it. That means that it doesn't affect the DEFCON track when you play it. So you would be able to play 1 piece wherever you want, and that would be it. But this card has 3 CPs and the nuclear symbol's not crossed out. So you would play 3 points in, television, big media campaign. Now we take the number of CP here, we subtract 1 from it, 2, and your tension in the DEFCON track goes up by 2. So that it's going to go up. So the more influence you play on the board, the higher your DEFCON track. Now, obviously, if we're up here, that's a problem.
You don't want to do that.
You can also play your card in the CPs to remove pieces. So I could remove 3 CPs using the card. 3 minus 1 is 2. My track would go down 2 on the track.
Sounds good.
Some of the cards affect your ability to reduce tension or raise tension. After we've played 4 cards, everybody has 1 card remaining. That is placed in the day 13 pile. I put some here already. At the end of the game, which is played in 3 rounds, we reveal the day 13 cards, and we count the number of blocks in each side's favor. So we have 8 Russian blocks, we have 3 American. The Russians win day 13. That's worth 2 points to the end of the game. So the Russians would win by 2. it's good for scoring 2 points, but it's also a way, because it's only 2 points, you may not want, as the Russian player, me playing some of these American cards, you may not want those events to come in place.
Right.
This is a way to ditch them. In a Twilight Struggle sense, that's like the space race,
okay.
and getting rid of cards that way, or the debate track from 1960.
Okay.
That's the game.
All right.
Plays in with an explanation and the whole effect of, oh, what does that card do? Oh, what does that card do? Oh, that's a cool card. The first game is no more than 60 minutes.
All right. So this is obviously an early prototype.
It is.
How soon do you expect to be in production on this one?
I set the Kickstarter goal for December. The art's about 2/3 of the way done. And on the Kickstarter campaign, it's listed under 13 days. On there, it's about 3/4 funded as of this morning, and the sample art on there is what the art's going to be. The game I did last year was Kremlin, and that was done with a 1930s Soviet propaganda style art. The idea for 13 days, the artist is running with more of a Mad Men 1960s early United States advertising campaign art for a style.
Sounds interesting.
The game board will be a little more pastel in color, because we found a map of the world, like a geopolitical map from like 1961. It's like you'd find in your old National Geographics.
Yeah, okay.
And Jacob, the artist, has kind of run with those colors.
All right.
So it looks really awesome. The green's a little more watercolory. The red is, I'm going to call it a Venetian red. So it looks a little more orange, but it fits in with the map, and it looks beautiful.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to seeing more from 13 Days. Thank you for watching.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.